Make no attempt to reload your device. You are now entering the Hellhole.
Welcome back. We are live, pal. We're in the hellhole. And they tell me there's been a Sony state of play, so of course we got to check out some of the hottest game trailers. I mentioned internet sensation Mega Lucifer. This is the hellhole. Boy, is it. It is a late night. Awfully late. Isn't it always? So, there was a whole heap of stuff. You can check out the full presentation for yourself. I'm just selecting some of the favorites, and there's really, there's really only one story to talk about coming out of this state of play, and it is Death Stranding 2 on the beach, which, if you've been around, I've been waiting for it. It's the big one as far as I'm concerned. This is the oxygen that is keeping me going right now. This is, this is the thing to be excited about. Curb Your Enthusiasm is wrapping up. Larry David is putting the iron claw on Elmo. That could be the end of Larry David as far as the public is concerned. I don't know what's going on there, but Curb Your Enthusiasm's ending. Cobra Kai is ending real soon. These are like the things that I've been reliably looking forward to, and they're going away. I'm running out of things to look forward to right now. Death Stranding 2 is it. Maybe there's a few other things. We're gonna take it as it comes. This is exciting though. I couldn't believe it. 9.5 minute preview. This is pretty exciting. You can see George Miller, the film director, my countryman, Australian. I was watching Beyond Thunderdome like a few days ago. This is exciting. Interesting looking character. All of this is looking really interesting. I don't know. How much are we going to talk about this? I feel like you start a conversation about Death Stranding that suddenly opens up to a raft of tangents. I don't know how much we're going to try to break anything down. I'm sure plenty of better people than me have already done that. But this is exciting. So I guess we're looking at, is that maybe immediate follow-ups to Higgs? You see BB? Things are going on here. This isn't, in some ways I'm surprised how much of the first Death Stranding is in this preview. Like, I didn't necessarily expect we would see the repatriating sort of baby imagery again. I didn't think we'd be seeing maybe anything that would be familiar, but this is all directly connected to the first game, so this is not a wild leap. I didn't know what to expect from Death Stranding 2. I don't know what to expect from the film, which is another thing that I'm obviously very excited about, but all of this is very familiar. All of this, the circumstances have changed. Clearly we've advanced in time. There's more of like a industrial military aesthetic. This is not the slick, headquarters that we used to bunk in the first game. And clearly Fragile is taking on a slightly different role. Everybody's taking on a slightly different role, and really, that's the thing. It's going to be the new context, the new developing story, and how much of this 9.5 minute preview is really giving us anything. Personally, I was toying with avoiding all of this stuff because I went into the first game. I saw maybe the first couple of trailers. The real thing that stuck with me was like Guillermo del Toro cradling BB, although we didn't know what BB was back then. It was just a baby in a weird little pod thing running through the sort of Warzone thing, which, you know, was not vital context for the finished game. You know, you play Death Stranding, eventually you figure out where that fits into things, but it wasn't, you know, giving too much away. And then so when I played the game, it was this pleasurable experience of discovery, which is maybe one of the things I'm most nostalgic for. You know, a lot of us are dissatisfied with the state of entertainment now, and I, you know, I would say maybe the last, you know, 20 years it's sort of been a step down at the very least. But one of the things I miss most is that sense of discovery, of getting involved in something new and immediately being intrigued and interested. And that's what Death Stranding is really giving me. It's giving me something that I don't know everything in. You know, I don't know the ins and outs of everything. I'm tremendously interested in discovering more of this world. This imagery is interesting because this says to me that, like, the gameplay is essentially going to be the same, and I didn't necessarily expect that.
That's right.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's maybe a little bit less emphasis on the courier aspect, the delivering. You know, it looks like maybe I mean, he's still got stuff on his back, but maybe the mission has changed. Maybe the role has changed. There seems to be some suggestion that, you know, you had the particularly through like the Death Stranding director's cut, you had those sort of delivery buddies, the bots that were sort of. I think in the game they say that they're sort of prototypes that are it's a test, and you get measurements of like how long it took them to deliver and stuff, the difficulty of deliveries and whether they can pull it off. I wonder, was Kojima Productions like actually crunching data from everyone's play? I don't know, that might be a little bit far-fetched, but it seems like that was sort of like the first step, and now this game has the full-fledged delivery robots, and Sam Porter Bridges will maybe be more focused on connecting people. I don't know. I mean, I presume there's still going to be a courier aspect, and it looks like there's still going to be a lot of like navigating the landscape. You see more of the bots and stuff. There's this whole interesting sort of escalation and new factions and things. It's interesting that we're still, you know, going to be dealing with BTs, I guess, or something. Or was that the bots? Maybe that was the bots. I mean, look at all this stuff. It's sort of, it's going even further than you know, like the bad guy factions in the first game. But it looks like Higgs is back. This is kind of interesting. Almost like a 3D printed sort of cyborg body holding him together. If you played the first game, you know there's sort of, you know, there's consequences to death in this whole series, which is sort of interesting. I like that about the gameplay, because, you know, they're talking about, you know, the use of guns in this, and Chris Cornhole over in the Discord was really sort of pointing out how much that sort of seemed to be emphasized, the guns here. You can see Higgs is sort of like commenting on more impressive hardware, although, well, like I would say, you know, if you played the first game, you do know that there is plenty of gunplay if you want it, but if you choose to take the lethal route, you have to deal with the consequences, and you have to put the time in to get that stuff done. So it is interesting. I wonder how much that's going to change, how Higgs is going to change, and obviously Higgs is sort of, I would presume, being sustained with a purpose, and part of that might be to prevent, you know, whatever consequence of his dooms would be. You know, if you don't know the game, maybe this is all a little bit oblique, but
was it you, Higgs?
It's a good time to go check out Death Stranding. It's a shame that, I think it's a shame that more people won't be able to experience it. You know, if they haven't experienced it already, it's a shame that you can't sort of do it completely clueless. There's too much out there. There's too much known. This is cool. I mean, I love this because, like, I've always thought like a guy with a guitar would be cool, because I'm thinking of the dude from Silverhawks, and that's what that totally reminds me of. So I dig this, like the gun weapon firing off the electricity, and this is like some sort of like wild sort of, you know, BT detecting samurai cyborg bot guy. I don't know if it's a suit. I mean, the guy's awfully big, but it's got like the Audra deck on the helmet, which sort of, but is there a camera lens in the middle that maybe isn't common to the Audra deck? I'm not really sure.
You don't know a goddamn.
It's all very interesting, man. I mean, like, I'm barely responding to what's happening on the screen. I don't know if we're going to go through this a second time, but it's just tremendously exciting. And Kojima is, I think I'm in the
ones who
cult
do
because,
find
like I've said before, I started a bit of a Death Stranding play.
Pain you nurse.
Was it early last year, and then I sort of I drifted
Sam
from
the
it
man
for a few reasons, some of
in
them
the
unpleasant.
About everything.
But yeah, I've mentioned that I'm not like I wasn't across Metal Gear Solid. That's not a game that I know well or any of that. I haven't been an acolyte of the Kojima cult until Death Stranding, and now I'm kind of like I'm all in. I think this is all exciting. Look at this. You got like some sort of like robot hands. That's kind of weird and cool. Leah Seydoux is like a welcome presence. I think she was great in the first game. Excited to have her back. A little sad to see Kojima today tweeting that Cliff Unger won't be back, which means no Mads Mikkelsen, which is something I didn't necessarily expect, but I was hoping for. I thought there might, in the same way Cliff sort of factored into the first game, I wondered if there might be a method for him to come back in some capacity with some significance. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. He's ruled that out. I still wonder, will Cliff maybe factor into the movie? Because the movie,
I was there. I saw her home.
It's interesting. Death Stranding 2 is much more directly connected to the first game than I expected. So, what do you? I don't know what to expect, because I was thinking maybe the game will be wildly different. Maybe the film will be wildly different. You don't really know what to expect. I still wonder, could the film be sort of a bit of a prequel and maybe be more about Cliff and his circumstances, and maybe address some of what we saw in the flashbacks of the first game, but flesh that out and maybe flesh out how the world sort of came to be and the initial events and all that kind of stuff. I really don't know, but I'm tremendously excited to see the Death Stranding franchise unfold. I think it's an absolute joy, and it's just like there's so many wrinkles, and I'm gonna forget things. There's so much to it. Every time I try to talk to someone about the game, because this is something I'm interested in and it's come up. Occasionally people will ask. So hard to encapsulate everything that makes it interesting. So this is crazy. I don't know what's going on with this cat. We got it looks like Higgs, but he's like, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if this is a direct consequence of the previous game. The ending sequences, maybe. This George Miller character is interesting. He's, is he like a friend of Fragile's? Is he in with them, sort of thing, or is this an advancement? I don't know what's going on with the stuff on the arms, but looks interesting. Looks interesting. I don't know what the deal with the hands are. Is this a post-COVID thing where it's just like you need a mask? So do the hands function as a mask like that, but then also have other functions? It's sort of like maybe an interesting just sort of evolution of the now ubiquitous face mask for this world with its sort of interesting 3D technology and everything. I don't know. It's gold dust. No, don't get distracted. That looks cool. It's all looking cool. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't take this literally. I don't think there's like a literal nanobot robot coming out of a baby's mouth or anything, but I don't know. The game is called On the Beach. The beach is tremendously relevant to the ability of Sam Porter Bridges to repatriate. So he doesn't die per se. He comes back. It's sort of video game speak as canon. This armory is like, it's straight up reminds me of the first game, obviously, if you played it.
Pretty much the same as yours.
It'd be interesting to see if Sam is sharing quarters here with other characters, if we're going to be interacting, or we're going to be playing as different characters. You can't forget, in Metal Gear Solid, you think you're going to play as one character and you find out you're playing as a different one. Could be a switcheroo. We don't know what to expect. Just because we've seen all this stuff, we don't know what to expect. Maybe there's got to be more. There's got to be more. I gotta make peace with myself. Am I going to be following these trailers? Are we going to be reconvening here in the Hellhole to discuss every single trailer? Because
it's the same deal.
I don't know. I love the mystery and I love the discovery, and that first game was just such a pleasure, because obviously Death Stranding, the initial announcements and the initial trailers and stuff were released, makes an impact. But
This knowledge and experience
that was
will
about as
probably
far as I
come in
went for me.
handy
I
down the
didn't
road.
follow it in depth, and I felt like I gained tremendously from that.
Really,
Because then
Sam?
when I stepped into the game,
Your buttocks?
I was in sync with the
What
game,
about
and the game
shotgun?
really just steered me as
I
it needed
prefer
to
the
and
driver's
revealed its secrets so naturally, so intuitively. It was such a pleasure. I don't know what's going on with this little robot thing, the little dummy. That's kind of interesting. Is that something to do with Dead Man? I thought maybe later on is Dead Man's voice coming out of it. I'm not sure about that.
The problem is
That,
not everybody wants to
that
be
could be
part of
a
the
mistake
UCA.
on my part. This
That's
looks
not the
great.
plan,
You know, it's sort of a little bit of the
DSC is
familiar, but it's
looking to
changed.
expand its
The terrain is very
Just like with
interesting. You know,
Mexico,
it looks
they
like we're
want
going to
to
have
bring
some
new
interesting
regions into the network.
challenges in the terrain. Although, you know, I think
Anyway,
it was a
the
little
cage
bit
regions here to
exaggerated how difficult navigating the terrain was, because
always,
really
you'll
there
be
were
the
very
one leading the
natural
way to expand the
paths to
network.
find in that first Death
What's your role
Stranding. You
in
could
all this?
really, I built the
Come on.
roads, so something like this. You know, I
That's right.
built the complete road.
These
That was
days
what
I'm
I did,
fragile in
which
name
made
only.
the game pretty easy. But even before that, I felt like there were natural
brought
paths.
America
This is
together.
cool. This looks like, you know, are there
How did we
new
born as
environmental
DSC?
hazards that are going to challenge us
But I'm afraid
in the
Death
play, or
Stranding
is that a
is far
set
from
piece?
over.
You know, I don't really know, but it looks like. I mean, look at all this. You know, is
Humanity
this
is
going to
still
be
in
the
danger.
game? Is this?
Still on
Are
the
we
brink of
going to be
extinction.
facing these kind of threats from
Don't
the
act like
environment?
you
It
don't
could be
see it.
tremendously interesting. This looks like.
A lot
Is
of
that the
things changed
beach?
after you went
Something
off
going
the
on?
land,
This
especially within the
Nightmare
UCA.
Fuel is sort of like I thought I'd
Bridge
stop
is no
playing
longer
Elden Ring. Now I got a
overseas
giant hand
distribution
chasing me again.
They withdrew once things were
I didn't
up
even
and
get that
running.
far in Elden Ring.
So your friends and coworkers
This looks.
all went
I
their
mean, look at
separate
this. So are
ways.
they using like the
Within network
tire,
coverage,
oil,
there's no
whatever
need to
stuff
rely on human porters
as a
anymore.
means of like interdimensional
So
travel?
after I closed up
It's
shop,
great to see the vehicles
I went and started a
escalating.
new group.
The mobile base
One
looks
that handles
cool. All of
working
this looks
regions
really
outside
good.
the UCA.
You know,
We decided to
it's
call
like the
ourselves Drawbridge.
personal quarters sort of just
With the support.
maybe a bit more
of the
utilitarian in
Carl
its
network,
application this
password.
time. I'm not sure.
Humanity
This,
will be
I mean,
free
that
from the
that
need
thing
to
it
move
looks like a
around.
response to the dog style attack robot that you see was a child like in parts of America and stuff. You know, Kojima's
Call
always
himself
kind
a
of
ghost,
processing things that are happening in the world and sort of
Just so
filtering
to
them
kill
through
us.
the lens of,
Say he came back to get
fiction
revenge on
and
you.
exaggerating things, but reflecting on the reality of things as well. So that's kind of interesting. I got mixed feelings about this design on who I assume is Higgs,
Yeah, I figured you'd
but
pay
it's
this
interesting.
place a
You know,
visit.
it's very interesting.
Seeing as how I've been
I like that
distributing
sort of.
fruits of this
You know,
fine
it's.
factory
I don't know what the
all over country.
material is. It's not like it's metal. It's sort
The whole
of
damn world could be yours.
Same as it
some
ever
kind of
was.
like alloy or carbon fiber sort of body build. It reminds me of
It's like you
3D
decided
printing
to
and where
Trade
you could maybe
in
go
that
with like
rope for a
3D
stick
printed
this
bodies
go-around.
and stuff. You've maybe got like durable
Well, I suppose
plastics
the only
involved
poor is to
and
pull the trigger
and carbon
all the
fibers
time.
and things like that. The translucency of the torso
What
where you
about
can sort of
you?
see his organs and stuff.
Hey,
You know,
buddy.
it obviously
You just
recalls
another
the BB pod,
So
but
let's
it
go
also
ask, huh?
you know
Let go
it
of
makes me
me.
think of sort of like 3D printed stuff. Look at that! That's crazy. I love that.
Pathetic guitarist. Where's the
This guy's a
rest of your
freak.
band?
I saw somebody joking that it's Timothy Chalamet's character revealed. I like that. That's funny. And so, what's going on with like BB? BB,
Ain't that something?
I want my BB.
Was it you heads?
Something.
Was it you
It
that
doesn't
killed
sound
Lou?
good for BB for little Lou.
You
BB
still
likes to
don't
go
know, do you?
fast, man. We got to take BB fast. You know, I would hate to think that something bad happened to BB. There's a baby in the trailers and like previous previews we've seen. I'd like to think little BB Lou is gonna just be dandy. That's cool. Look at that! Like, talk about the axe man. The guitar as a weapon. I love it. Big sort of like weird Death Stranding samurai. That's cool. This is all great. You know, I'm on board. You know, I almost don't want to speculate too much. You know, I just want to soak in it, let it wash over me because this is great.
Something
This is great.
You don't know a goddamn thing about Lou.
All right.
We got young Reedus and
Let's see what
Grade
we can find
Greedus. Grade Greedus? Norman Reedus?
If you want answers,
Norman Reedus
you're
with
gonna
gray
have to
hair.
Find them yourself.
Greatest.
But
Yeah, so I'm curious, like,
the
what
ones you
kind
do
of,
find,
what's the time frame? There's a little hand.
pain
Come on,
your
Lou, you
nurse.
okay there? What's going to
Will make
happen
it
in the
worse.
future when he's gone gray? Is he
Sam
graying there at the
man.
back? Sort of hard to tell.
In the dark
I don't know.
about everything.
Is that Lou? Is there another baby? I don't know what to make of any of this. It's very exciting.
forget,
So I'm super on board,
coming on
obviously,
this
with Death Stranding
expedition was
2.
meant to help
On
you
the
find the
beach,
strength
which
to carry on.
conjures
And you have
apocalyptic images of like the film
Oh,
On
no,
the
you've got
Beach
this.
where, you know, the world
it's
is
time to finish
ending
your journey,
and,
Sam.
there's a lost ship. We got a ship piloted by Fragile. There's,
He
I
understands,
don't think,
Sam.
you know, Kojima not necessarily known for his subtlety. I don't think he's going for subtlety. I think these are deliberately coded to be
We
very
never
easy to
meant string you
understand.
along.
I don't know, super interesting.
That chrysalis,
I'm super
we
excited.
found
Who's
her
this character?
inside.
What's going on? More Fragile
It was
employees,
filled with a
maybe?
fluid that contained amino acids.
I'm
One's
I'm
identical in
pumped.
structure to the
You know, I was
one
hoping for this
tar.
like at the Game Awards or something, and it's finally here, and it
amino acids
hasn't disappointed. This is interesting. Like all this, I guess they're going to explore more
course.
of the black
How else did you think
substance
that
and
coral
maybe get
creatures
more
could
into
emerge
the
from it?
pseudoscience and lore of
Some have
that.
even
And that's all
theorized that the
cool.
tar is a
You know,
sort of
that's the kind of stuff that I was really
primordial
enjoying.
soup.
With like, I hope Die Hard Man
there.
shows
I saw
up.
her
I
all.
hope Heartman we maybe see again.
It was a
Although
hellhole.
circumstances of the story might just not allow for it. Might not be the story for them in the same way it's not the story for Cliff. I think there's still going to be plenty more to discover from Death Stranding 2, and I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to it. This is my game. I don't have a PS5 yet. It's still very expensive. It's more than I can really comfortably afford, but adding games like this is going to certainly encourage me to want one. More on that maybe as we go, because the state of play was pretty good. I came away feeling pretty good. I came in like feeling lousy. I came away feeling good. Let's move on to, you know, let's keep in Kojima territory. Hopefully the audio's okay. Hopefully I'm not competing. We don't have a cacophony of sound. I'm going to find out later. If you're in the chat, let me know if the audio is terrible. I will probably not be able to solve any problems, if I'm totally honest. But this is exciting. Kojima obviously here with his buddy at PlayStation and announcing another game, as if, you know, Death Stranding 2 isn't exciting enough. We got Death Stranding on mobile now, if that's something you're looking for. I don't know that I am, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Announcing another game, and he's going back to the stealth sort of genre, the espionage genre. That's really exciting. That's cool. Like I said, I wasn't. It's a really like, you know, when I'm ever when it comes up in conversation, it always stuns people, and I feel like it's an anomaly. I don't know what went wrong where I never played Metal Gear Solid on the first PlayStation, because that is kind of like, I mean, that's some of my favorite gaming periods, and I was dabbling in a lot of things, but for whatever reason, Metal Gear Solid wasn't one of them. And I have Metal Gear Solid now, and it is a game that I would like to sort of involve myself in, get a taste for. But new franchise, this could be the end. You know, Death Stranding kind of has converted me to the Kojima cult. You know, like I'm on the hook, man. Hook, line, and sinker. Death Stranding is like one of the most exciting things going as far as I'm concerned. And this, I don't know how do you say it? Fizzint is the working title. Fizzint. I don't know. I've only seen it written. I haven't heard it spoken yet. Bhysint. You will see it at the end of this announcement. Here we go. Like the big zoom. Like, what do we do? We got like bullet time camera rigs. Obviously, it's not bullet time. It's not a still moment, but we got this wild like camera move and everything. Columbia Pictures and Fizzint. Is that to suggest some sort of Columbia involvement? Is there a film for this as well? We're getting a Death Stranding movie. Is like, I mean, obviously Kojima's a bit of a cinephile. I can relate in that regard. I mean, I feel a certain kinship with some of this stuff. I guess it appeals to me greatly. It's very nice to feel catered to, because often that's not the case anymore. But yeah, is there going to be like a film connection to this? Obviously, he's mentioned, you know, that it's both a movie and you know, I didn't take that literally, but I guess from that zoom out, should we take that literally? Is there literally a movie as well? Because I was thinking, you know, I don't really know what's going on with OD. All of Kojima's games have extensive sort of movie elements, and you know, like Death Stranding notoriously had what? Was there over an hour long cutscene? One of the cutscenes. So there's always it's always both a game and a movie, but I don't know. Maybe there's going to be like some sort of stealth espionage Kojima movie and game double production, which bring it on, I say. I don't know. Maybe it'll be awesome.
I've been hoping you would revisit with a bold new vision.
There's not a lot to go on, obviously, here. They're not giving too much away. It's just an announcement. They're going to develop this when Death Stranding 2 is concluded. So how much has actually been done for it, I don't know. But it's exciting, and I thought I would at least acknowledge it because it's something on the horizon to look forward to. And that's tremendously important to me because in the current sort of wasteland of entertainment, of popular culture, there's just not that much to really get excited about. There's not many sure things. And the things that purport to be sure things are more often than not just sort of like craven exploitation of existing IP. And here is something to look forward to that's not necessarily existing IP. Please excuse me for a moment. Oh my goodness, it's all happening here. Yeah, so that's tremendously exciting. And it's great to see PlayStation, up and about. PlayStation looks alive. It feels like they're doing something. Every time there's a PlayStation presentation, I come away saying, I wish PlayStation was cool again. I wish they had that groove. I wish there was something to look forward to, something that I genuinely was interested in. Well, this is the one that really delivered that. And we're checking this out now. So this is the Silent Hill short message trailer. This is a free game. You can go play this right now, as far as I know. It's PS5 only, so sadly I'm not playing it. Otherwise, I would be doing that because it's Silent Hill and it's free, and that's awesome. I get PT vibes. I think they're, looking at this, they're competing with what is now a pretty robust subgenre. There's a lot of independent games now being developed regularly, and you can see them. You can get them on Steam. They're usually cheap. There's all these independently produced horror games. I've been playing some of those Chillers Art games, which are sort of, there's a bit of overlap there. I think they had their most recent game looked a little bit in this sort of more of that sort of PT horror. I don't know. That's not really true. No, that's not true. This reminds me of PT, and it's obviously like an adaptation of Silent Hill. Exactly what, the definition of Silent Hill for a while there felt like it felt like there was a clear definition, whereas it's changing. It's becoming much, it's not, it used to be you would say Silent Hill and you're thinking of like the flaking paint and the rust and all this sort of unpleasance. There was a definitive impression of what Silent Hill was, and the fog and all that. But I think that's just consistent to the first two games. And obviously, you had The Room, you had Silent Hill 4, Silent Hill 3, all that stuff. It slowly changed. And then after that, I think you really get into the disappointments. The lesser than games, the disappointing games. Now it feels like Silent Hill's sort of got a bit of life back in it, but it's growing sort of in new ways. The style has changed a lot, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think that's cool, and sort of, it's nice to, they're not just exploiting what they already have. It feels like there is something to be said here. It does feel familiar. It feels familiar, but it's different enough. The challenge here is really just can they match all those other sort of horror games, indie horror games that are doing this kind of stuff regularly? They gotta really do it at a high enough level. Maybe show us something. It's got to be like a robust experience. Not this one necessarily, because this is free. The short message is a free game. I presumed that it might be promotion or hype for what else is going on with Silent Hill, because there's a handful of things still going on there. I kind of lost sight of there was another thing. Was that the weird what was it? It was like crowdsourced gameplay or whatever. I lost sight of all that. We've still got the Flowery Mushroom Kingdom thing, I think. Is that still to come? Silent Hill 2 remake is you don't put your chips on that one, I don't think. That's not where the hope is going to lie. But this, this looks cool. It's kind of, it's that same sort of psychological tortured character in Silent Hill. The hostile environment, the smoky, misty, foggy environment, all that kind of stuff. Slightly cliche, and it's sort of it's J horror vibe, and it's all of these games. It's got like the social media aspect. I presume maybe is this like someone who's, it seems like a pretty unsubtle comment on social media and if not public living, but certainly like the kind of public living that the common person might experience, online harassment, that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'd like to play it, but sadly it's just not something that I'm able to do right now. So I don't know, if you want to like, subscribe, get us closer to having subs or something, then maybe we can, I don't know. Don't worry about that. This looks cool. I think it's cool that they're putting out a free game, and I do ultimately think it's just nice to see Silent Hill. Silent Hill is alive. It's nice to see Konami, even if they're not doing it in-house, allowing their properties to live and breathe. Hopefully, Short Message is a good time. Seems alright. I've seen some good reactions. Let's move on. Again, in the spirit of like looking forward to things that are slightly bit different. Dave the Diver is obviously a game that has already been discussed widely. I don't know a lot about it. I didn't really pay much attention. I was interested in that what was that trolling one? I forget what that was called. I don't think it's called Troll. I can't remember what that one's called. But Dave the Diver sounds interesting. There's like a whole subaquatic pseudo-horror genre. Obviously, I had a nice time playing Subnautica while I did that. Got to go back to that at some stage. But hey, if you want to get me interested in a game that's going to be on PlayStation, yeah, Godzilla's going to do it. Because I love me some Godzilla. I like classic Godzilla. My favorite Godzilla is the 60s Godzilla. Maybe in some ways the lesser Godzilla. I don't know. Opinions will vary. Mileage will vary. I think maybe the 70s is a bit of a dip. I like those wacky 60s ones. But this looks cool. It's almost like what era Godzilla is that? It's like reminding me of. It's not full on Destroyer Godzilla, I don't think. But he's got like the hot plates, the hot fins, and all that stuff. So anyway, I don't know much about Dave the Diver. Coming to PlayStation's cool. That seems like a good one to have. I like the sort of vibe, the general look of it. I'm so clueless. I don't really know what the gameplay is. Clearly, you can fling aquatic life, and there's a sharktopus in the game, and a samurai. Okay, yeah, sure. It's not quite what I thought it was. What is that trolling game? You know the one? You're like you're salvaging stuff, and there's some sort of Lovecraftian thing going on. That was the one that caught my eye. I don't know. I still haven't played it anyway. But this is cool. Godzilla. I mean, Godzilla's getting around. Is that just the... No, he's got like the hot lava bits. Is that the Destroyer era Godzilla? It could be. I don't know. Seems cool. I don't know. Put Godzilla and stuff. Works for me. I liked it in Fall Guys. He's been getting around. Another one that, is maybe not the biggest sensation in the world, but Sonic Cross Shadow Generations. So a new iteration of Sonic Generations. Again, it's a game I didn't really play, but this is cool. I like to see Sega up and about. It's great to see Sega on the PlayStation. I think, that would be a great partnership in my eyes. I feel like it's a better fit than like Xbox and Sega and the whole Nintendo thing. You know what that's all about. We don't need to get into that right now. I think Sony and Sega are a good sort of spiritual match. I mean, PlayStation got in the market by being more Sega than Sega, so of course it's a natural fit. And this makes sense to me. And this bit kind of like it gets me in the mood. Every now and then I get in the mood. I want to go back and play Sonic Riders. Is that what it was called? Sonic Riders 2, maybe. I'm gonna do that one day. I'm gonna do that. Is this game any good? I don't know. I'm not into Shadow the Hedgehog. If they wanted to make Shadow more appealing, they would make him like the Shadow, like the pulp radio character or whatever. There was an Alec Baldwin movie in '94, but it's an old character from like the 30s or whatever. I like the Shadow. So make it more like the Shadow, and then maybe I can go with it. It's a weird notion, the whole thing. And guns in Sonic, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. All of this stuff looks cool. That looks fun. You know, it's just kind of nice to see something colorful and exciting, and I don't know. I don't have strong feelings about Sonic Generations, but why the two Sonics? I guess it's because of the generations. It's like classic Sonic and new Sonic. Shadow the Hedgehog. I don't know. Fair enough. You know, I think it's cool. And I guess that's everything really from the state of play. I thought maybe I expected to do a little bit more on Death Stranding. That's the real winner. It is January, technically, so the state of play, January 31st, I think it was, so they got in right at the end of January. We're a couple of days later, so it's February now. But there are some more trailers from January, so we might as well take a little look at that at least. A little acknowledgement. I'm enjoying these kind of like these monthly trailer sessions that we've been doing. There is a playlist over on YouTube right now if you want to check out some of the other things that we've looked at over the months. You know, fighting games have been a huge part of it. I'm a fighting game tragic. I keep saying it. I don't necessarily, you know, I'm not filling the hellhole with mediocre fighting game play, because that's what it would be, folks. It wouldn't be pretty, but I am working my way through Street Fighter 6 World Tour right now, so I got to get back to that. But Tekken 8 right now is obviously the big sensation. Again, if I had a PS5, I'd be playing it because it looks great. Look at this. This is the stuff. This is what gets me going, man. I love this. I love seeing the cage, the Iron Fist cage back, kind of like Tekken 4, which is Tekken 4 is still kind of. I know it's not the popular one, but I really like Tekken 4. I got to get back to that. Give Kazuya a nice smack in the face. That's the kind of stuff we want to hear about. I'm really excited to get into the story. Like I've said before, I've got like a real. There's a friction there where I don't love these sort of like World War stories where the stakes are like Kazuya's going to take over the world and all this kind of stuff, but he's going to hold a tournament in like the ruins of New York City, that kind of thing. That's a little bit wild for me. I liked it when it was about martial arts tournaments and martial artists living sort of a secret coexistence with the rest of the world. The idea that there were ninjas, you know, away from public view, living in the woods and the mountains, sort of, you know, the idea that there was sort of this secret world going on around us. I like that kind of thing. This is, I mean, the Tekken has been like this really since, I mean, it kind of started in Tekken 5, and it really, in Tekken 6, it's like, the world is at war. A little bit Mortal Kombat, too. There's an interesting, like, this. I mean, you look at the Colosseum. Does Mortal Kombat have total ownership of Colosseums? There's not really. I mean, and we shouldn't think of it that way. But when you think of the Colosseum, you will often think of, like, you know, the context of fighting games. It's Shao Kahn in the Colosseum kind of thing. All of this, there's just like it's a slight sort of like infection of sort of Mortal Kombat style stakes. It's still very much Tekken though, and Tekken is like, we've been talking about it for months now, character to character, trailer to trailer. This looks great. Tekken is always a pretty much a guaranteed good time. Tekken 7, because I like fighting games for the stories, and I like the sort of single player stuff. I'm not as interested in just competitive play. To me, Tekken 7 was a disappointment. It lacked, you know, the kind of robust story or extra mode that Tekken games were having regularly at that point. I mean, the campaign mode in Tekken 6 turned out to be awesome. I really loved that. Tekken 5 had that insane, like, Jin Kazama fights the aliens mode. You know, it's like a full-on adventure mode. I really loved Tekken Force and Tekken 4 as an advancement of Tekken Force from Tekken 3. So, you know, like, it's been a robust series, and looks like it's back to form. They're delivering the package out of the box. You don't have to wait and download your story mode like in Street Fighter 5. What an embarrassment that was. Very dodgy. Tekken 8 looks like it delivers 16. To me. We're not going to talk about the Game Informer review that said it didn't compare as flatteringly to like Mortal Kombat 1 and Street Fighter 6. That's cookie talk. That's insane. That is unhinged. Somebody please check that person, make sure they're not near children, because that is ridiculous and dangerous talk. I don't know. Tekken 8, even without playing it, clearly superior to Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat 1 has just been so disappointing. I will say for Mortal Kombat 1, we're not really going there. There's no trailers to talk about. But Mortal Kombat 1, there's a lot of dissatisfaction surrounding it, and I think it's important not to lose sight of the fact that people have grievances for different reasons, and this is not necessarily a unanimous perspective on Mortal Kombat 1. For me, the story, the premise, massively disappointing. The aesthetics, not great, not terrible. Some of the arenas are kind of cool stuff, but yeah, the grievances vary, and I think we gotta remember that, and not have this attitude that it's it's all definitively bad because of X. Obviously, games as service is an issue, and it looks like Tekken doesn't have that issue, so that's tremendously exciting. All these characters look great. This is looking really awesome. I've been interested to see people sharing like some of their customization of characters. I'm presuming that it's the standard Tekken character customization, that it's sort of limited to just generic things that you can put on your character and all that kind of stuff. That's been around since Tekken 5. Really got maybe kicked into gear in Tekken 6. It was pretty limited, I think, in Tekken 5. It was just sort of like accessories you can put on and mix and match bits of gear. I don't know, but I presume a lot of that is the me. This is the launch trailer, by the way. This is the Tekken 8 launch trailer. Tekken 8 launch. Is it? I think it came out. Yeah, came out in January. Launch trailer looks cool. There's been other trailers. I'm not going to do all the Tekken trailers. We get the picture. As far as PS5 goes, tremendously looking forward to Death Stranding 2, obviously, whatever comes from the next game. But Tekken 8 is one that I would really like to be playing right now. Still really expensive to get a PS5, and I don't have that much money, and it's just like, I don't feel like I've missed out on that much. As far as games that have come and gone, what would I be playing? Maybe there'd be some games that I'm interested in, like Street Fighter 6 and stuff that I would shift to the PS5. I've been playing a wrestling game, that kind of stuff. Baldur's Gate is like, if you're there, maybe. Essentially a lot of non-essential things. Death Stranding Director's Cut for a while was something I was interested in, but obviously Death Stranding is the only game that I've ever played through to Platinum, so we're looking at Tekken right now, and Tekken 8 is clearly one of the standouts, so that's looking cool. It's nice to see Jin Kazama back in action, Kazuya, all the gang. I've been hearing things about the game. I haven't been following too closely, but some interesting stuff going on there with the characters. I'd like to check out the story sometime. I don't know. It's always a good bet. Tekken is always a good bet. You know what you're getting. I've seen occasionally some people consider that a negative, but man, just give me iconic characters that I can instantly recognize, that I know enough about, that I can enjoy, pick up and play. That's what I need. That's what I like. Tekken is delivering. Superb. We got to do some Street Fighter. So there's really only, unless I've missed something, the Street Fighter 6 is kind of just stepping back, letting Tekken have its moment, but it's working towards some of its DLC stuff. And this is the Ed teaser trailer, which, if I'm totally honest, right now I'm not that excited about. Ed is not a character who gets me. It doesn't get the blood pumping, doesn't get me looking forward to what's coming next. Ed.
Bring it on.
I feel like that's, it really says it all. Ed. That's your big, exciting character. Ed. I got no problem with guys named Ed. It's just not an exciting name for a Street Fighter character. Was he a Street Fighter 5 character? I don't even remember now. There's nothing about this guy that gets me overly interested. It's cool that they're using the Metro City train in the teaser, and what do we got? Like Shadaloo box heads. I'm still working my way through World Tour, so I don't know if these guys actually show up. Maybe they do. Maybe I gotta get a move on, finish that up. I'm doing some other stuff with Capcom stuff. It's been very it's all over the place. But Ed's coming this month, so keep an eye out for that. Maybe there'll be a full-blown trailer, and we'll check that out, maybe with some other stuff. I don't know what's coming in February, so hopefully we'll have more to talk about. Again, I figure we're doing January trailers. It was really about the state of play. It was really all about Death Stranding 2. That is the big one. But this one caught my eye. It's just after New Year. I was calling it Crazy Taxi Turismo because that's the vibe. It's a very sedate, it's by no means Crazy Taxi, but you're driving a taxi and it's got a Gran Turismo vibe. It's not a complicated joke. It's not even a funny joke. It's barely a joke. It's just an observation. I kind of like the look of this though. This seems like a really chill, attractive, this is the kind of thing that I want out of a game. Just give me something that looks good, has a certain sensation of like sophisticated, world and environment. I like this. I might play this at some point. I don't know. It doesn't seem like the most exciting game to play, and I guess that, it's sort of, if you think of Death Stranding as just a walking sim, which it isn't, there is so much more going on in that. This is kind of like that vibe, though. Just, you're a taxi driver now? Games that simulate occupations. That's a weird thing that's sort of bubbling away. Yeah, I don't know about that. Could you just become a taxi driver if you're into that, maybe? Just go drive a taxi in real life? I don't know. This looks cool. I would play this. Look at that. Beautiful vintage cars. See, I like the sort of the vintage. I mean, look at that. That's great. Yellow cab. Soft top. Or is it a hard top? Maybe it's a hard. No, it's a soft top. Look at that. That's a cool looking car, man. Very appealing. It's got that sort of, that intangible certain something that Gran Turismo has that is just very slick, a little bit European. I don't know, man. Taxi life might be kind of cool. I'm looking forward to the new Crazy Taxi, obviously, but I don't know. Taxi life maybe could be the chill out room for you play a bit of Crazy Taxi, you go nuts. Yeah. You get your offspring in. You do your fares, and then you can chill out at night and play Taxi Life with the wife or whatever. It's the come down game. I don't know. It looks cool. I kind of like it. I mean, that to me is PlayStation as well. Like, I think back to the first PlayStation, even the PS2, it was those interesting, roads less traveled and experimental games and stuff. This is scratching those itches. This is what I want from PlayStation. Like, just a whole bunch of stuff that's weird and wonderful. Nice to see some movement. We might as well finish off with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which was, I imagine, a huge talking point for a lot of people, and for me, I don't know what to think. I've never, I love Indiana Jones like anybody else. For Christmas, I got a Kazim action figure. I still haven't opened it. I figured I'll bring it here. I'll open it on here. But I love Indiana Jones. The movies, the first three movies are as important to me as they were to anyone. I'm not Robinson Crusoe there or whatever. I'm not the first person to love those things. I'm sure a lot of people out there do. So if you give me a really good Indiana Jones game that feels like a new movie, maybe I would really like that. I've never gotten into an Indiana Jones game. I played Tomb Raider and Tomb Raider 2. That was cool. I liked it partly because it was a little bit different as well. It wasn't the Indiana Jones of it wasn't really what attracted me to those games. I've never really thought of Indiana Jones as a game that I want to play. I guess when I was a kid, I wanted to play the Mega Drive game, but in some ways, I'm glad I never did. Uncanny knack to avoid disappointment. I had a great run of games where I was never able to get my hands on the games that turns out they're god-awful garbage. I don't know if the Mega Drive... I think the Mega Drive Indiana Jones is pretty bad from all accounts. I'm happy to never find out. I never needed to get my hands on an Indiana Jones game because they never seem like worth the time. And it's just, it's not a franchise that I associate with wanting the game. I like Harrison Ford. I like observing his adventures, that kind of thing. That's...
Trust me.
Everything doesn't have to be everything, Like, some things can just be good at one thing, and we need more of that. We need more of, like, here's what we do incredibly well. This is our niche. And then somebody else can do something else. So, like, maybe... Indiana Jones is essentially over as far as I'm concerned. No more films. Stop mucking around. No more CG, any of that crap. Just let it lie and do something new. If the game can deliver, so be it. That would be fantastic, I guess. It's a nice way for it to continue on, but
The great servant.
I don't know. I guess weird CGI young Harrison Ford isn't as jarring in a video game because it's all weird CG.
You have any idea how old
This is not Kojima Productions. This is not like blowing my mind with the visuals. It's good enough, but
While you were playing your
I missed. Are these Nazis again, or is this the communist Russia? I don't know what. What's going on? Do we need this? Do we need an Indiana Jones game? I don't know. I guess I included this one just out of curiosity. It's interesting. I haven't really watched all these trailers much until now, so it's sort of nice to revisit these things. But yeah, I don't know if we need. No, that does look. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, do I have? Just because there's something that is, a franchise that you're interested in, you don't have to. You don't have to do it, man. You're not required to. There's no obligation. I don't feel obligated to. If it turns out the game's good, maybe I'll check it out sometime. I'm not convinced. Let's go back to the winner. As far as I'm concerned, PlayStation State of Play was completely justified, was completely joyful because of Death Stranding 2. I'm so excited. There's so many things that I probably wanted to talk about and didn't. I mean, George Miller, that's great. Funny coincidence, just because I was watching Beyond Thunderdome. Look at that. What is going on with this cat? Is that a real creature? Is that a living creature? Is it some sort of like, what are you, repet, simulation pet thing? What is going on here? Fragile's got the like cyborg hands or whatever. Are the wings just like a same kind of deal maybe? What are they cutting Higgs out of? Is he? I don't know. What are these little circle things with and they're like beach stranding zits. Oh, what is that? It's like I guess were there octopuses and octopi in the first game? Because it's sort of the circles evoke like the suction, the marks of like suction from a tentacle. Is there something to that? You had the whales and all that stuff. Man, Death Stranding is a trip, and it's like it's 2:30 a.m. right now. I'm losing my mind here. Look at this. This is great. Sold. That's all you gotta do. Sold. Weird baby with goth panda eyes with a spaceship coming out of its mouth. What more do you need? I'm sold. Like what?
I'll help you get your bearings.
Is that not enough for you?
This is the ship's armory.
This looks
Here you can check
interesting.
your
All this
weapons
stuff.
and put them through
Is
their
there anything?
paces.
I'm trying to look for like. Is there anything that really grabs me? What's that up on the rack with the
These
chains?
rooms over
I don't
here
know.
belong to other members of the crew.
Why are they grey?
They're pretty much the
What does
same as
that
yours.
suggest? Is this
The shower's down at the end.
are they like holograms? Is this a memory, or
is
are
one
they
hell of
just
a
like
ship you got
holograms
here.
exploring the space
Courtesy
from
of the
somewhere
UCA,
else?
I'm guessing.
No. As I told you,
I don't know,
Drawbridge is
man.
a civilian outfit. But we do
What
have
is
a
the deal with
generous
those
patron
hands?
access to plenty of capital and tech.
Sounds like a UCA big shot.
I'm excited to
Don't ask
know.
me.
Like this is
Never met
this is
face to
good.
face.
I don't know. I do not have all the answers.
Privacy.
Great.
Seriously?
I cannot wait to
better
discover
than believe
more.
that
That was
bullshit.
what was so great about the first Death Stranding, was just like unraveling,
It's the same
getting
deal
them,
as America. The people
every
here are all
time you
spread out,
discover something,
cut off
you
from one
advance,
another.
maybe you deal
I
with,
want you to
like
help
the
us
upgrade
bring the
system
world
was really
together.
good. The way that game played the first time, I was so frustrated when I was trying to do like a let's
Humor
play,
him.
because
His knowledge
I
and
couldn't
experience will
recreate
probably
how
come in
perfect
handy
that
down
first
the
run
road.
was, where I just stumbled every time I stumbled into the next thing that I needed. When I was getting a little fed up with one thing, I would get another upgrade. I would discover a new piece of information. All that stuff. It's great. It's great. I didn't really mess a lot when I played with the little decorative things you can hang from your pack and all that. I'm curious what this little like living doll is all about. Seems really interesting. Is it a vessel or something for Dead Man? I thought I heard Dead Man's
Not
voice
everybody
when I
wants
was
to be
watching it,
part
but
of
I'm
the
not really
UCA.
sure. I can't actually.
That's not
I
the
don't
plan,
actually have
Sam.
audio while I'm
The
talking to you.
UCA
So
isn't looking to expand its borders. Just like with Mexico. they
fill
want
me
to
in
bring
the
new
comments.
regions into
What
the
do you and
network.
what do you think of all these things? You know,
Anyway, the
we got some
GHQ
winners because I
is
think
here
we
to
do.
back you
Look
up.
at this. This looks really interesting.
As
It's
always,
slightly
you'll be
different.
the
I
one
mean,
leading
getting
the
a
way to
desert
expand the
environment would be
network.
cool and navigating all
Who's
that.
you rolling all this?
This looks beautiful.
You're the
I
commander.
love like a good sort of
That's
modern
right.
city environment.
These days
I
I'm
mean,
far
that's
down
pretty
in the
wild.
moment.
Fire. You know what's going on? Are we gonna get like bushfires? Oh no.
You brought America together.
We got a flood. Are we
How
getting
did
like
we
flood,
prepare as the
famine,
UCA?
all this stuff? I mean,
I'm
and the
afraid
question
Death
of the
Stranding
game
is
is,
far from
you know,
over.
should we have connected? And it is an interesting prospect. I took that
Humanity
I took
is
that
still in
initially
danger.
to be sort of like,
Still
is
on
this
the
going to be
brink of
the downside
like
of
you
sort
don't
of like
see it.
society? Is this going to be a
A lot of
that
things
thing's got
changed after
tentacles?
we
That
went
thing
off
flying
on
in the
our
sky. I wonder about that.
Especially
But yeah,
within
is the question of should we have connected?
Bridge is
Is
no
it just
longer
like the
overseas
drawbacks of
distribution network.
the bad guys?
Only
You know,
true once
the
things were up and
I
running.
can't remember what the scavengers
So
were
your
called.
friends and
It's left my
coworkers all
mind.
went their separate ways.
Um,
Within network coverage,
goodness, what were they
there's no
called?
need to rely on human porters anymore. So after I closed up shop, I went and started a new group.
Mules,
handles
the
working
mules,
regions
and
outside
there was
the UC.
another faction.
We decided to call ourselves Drawbridge.
I can't remember what they were called.
With the support of the
Big
Cairo
fan,
network,
big fan.
APAS,
Just ridiculous.
Humanity
Yeah,
will be free
some of
to
these,
lead
like
to
this, feels like a. If they're not, if it's not a literal
Officer
evolution of
capable
like the mules and well, the mules I think were
He's
the
alive.
He called himself a ghost,
they
but
weren't devils.
Found a way back from the
What were they
beach
called?
just so he could kill us.
Oh my god! Whatever the hostile
So
group
he came
was
back
that
to
were
get
sort of like
revenge on
working
you.
with Higgs, but maybe not direct. I don't know. There's just so many interconnecting things. It seems like there's a certain amount of escalation to what we already know. There could be new groups that are filling in similar aspects. It sounds like you're moving away from America. Did they say it was South America?
Guns and violence.
I thought I picked up something about maybe going
Same as it ever was.
south of the border or something.
Oh.
It's just going to be really interesting, and it's sort of
Looks like
but
you
like when I
decided
played
to
Death Stranding that first
trade
time,
in that
you've got that sort of
stick
that
disco.
initial area that almost serves as like a
Well, that's
tutorial
what
area, but it has a bit more going on. And obviously, you do go back there again, and you can go back whenever you want, but you will be
about you?
required to go back. But so you had that area,
Buddy,
then you moved
need
on to
us
like the
another
big area,
soul
and I made the
little
mistake of
rascal?
thinking like we were going to get multiple. Like I thought it was going to keep escalating as you get the full sort of like United States, and I thought the map would be like we're connecting the United States, so there's more and more space. It turned out there really wasn't that much to it. There's like a main section with the two sort of extra sections. This almost feels like it's fulfilling that promise, though, of
Was
like
it you,
giving
Lance?
us more terrain,
Huh?
more
Was
environments.
it you that
They don't
killed
seem
Lou?
particularly beholden to like the geography of where they are. I mean, obviously the first game was had a real like Iceland, very sort of like Iceland vibe to the geography and the terrain and everything. Maybe a little bit of like Europe, parts of Ireland and stuff like that. But the new game, if it is going, I don't associate what would seem the sort of rocky areas and sandy desert. This is a future, so I don't necessarily need it to be like. I mean, realism is really overrated, and I hate that sort of like that knee-jerk reaction that you see to a lot of things. That's not realistic, or that's not how it is. Embrace fiction. I think intelligent adults should understand the concept of fiction and the role of fiction. It's not there to be a
Alright, Sam.
documentary.
Let's see what we can find on Lou.
Give me
you want
artifice.
answers,
Give
you're
me
gonna
things
have
that
to
are not
find them
realistic.
yourself.
That's what I desire. I
ones
want
you do find
experiences that
Well, that
I don't already experience
pain
elsewhere,
nurse
that I haven't lived,
will only get
that I
worse.
won't live. I want
Sam the man.
the artifice. I want the false,
About everything.
the strange, the unusual, the unlikely. That's what I want from a fictional
Don't
presentation and experience.
Coming on
And
this expedition was
again,
meant
that's
to help
something
you
that
find
Death
the
Stranding
strength to
is
carry
giving
on.
me. Where
And
I'm
you
not
have.
getting this anywhere.
We all know you've got this.
Again,
Now it's
the
time to
subtitle
finish
is
the
on the
journey,
beach,
Sam.
which is very evocative. It makes you think of the film
Please
on the beach,
understand, Sam.
the sort of apocalyptic vibe. And there is an apocalyptic sense about the whole franchise and the talk of like, is humanity
We never
going to be
meant to string
extinct?
you along.
That is the nature of
That
the Death
chrysalis,
Stranding.
we
That's
found
the
her
event,
inside.
like of extinction events, you know.
That contained amino acids.
So that's baked
One's
in,
identical
and on the
in
beach
structure
is
to
just
the
such like a
time found.
charged subtitle. So
I'm sorry.
it really makes you wonder. But obviously the beach is also sort of that otherworldly afterlife element, and the way that interacts
Some have
with
even
this
theorized
world
that the
of
tower is a sort of
it's sort of got like it's almost got like technological potential, and we saw sort of the way things evolve with Cliff. I don't want to give too many spoilers because I know there's people that haven't played the first game, and I would urge them play that first game, experience the story, you know, because that is like the big appeal. I can understand you might not be as excited about doing like the delivery things. I found it quite pleasant when I play Death Stranding. You know, like if you're in the Hellhole, you know, I'm playing things regularly, but quite spread out. It takes me a long time these days to play a full game, and I often don't finish games because I'm just playing like every few days. I'm getting like an hour in here and there. When I played Death Stranding in like 2019, I think it was then, you know, I was able to just like turn the console on and do a delivery here, come back later, do another delivery, you know, do it over lunch, do it when I take a break, you know, walk away from the desk, walk away from the screens. You got to leave the screens, you got to get a bit of exercise, that kind of thing. And when I do that, okay, well, I'll get a delivery in as well while I'm having a little break from whatever work I'm doing, you know, that kind of thing. I was actually, you know, because I've essentially, all my gaming now is tethered to the Hellhole. I don't play a lot now when I'm not sharing it with you guys, which is hopefully, you know, if you've seen me play, I'm clearly not saving the best of myself, but that's the idea anyway. But it means I've sort of like the gaming's all here, whereas for a while it was sort of I had a television and I would stand while I played. I would play Death Stranding. I would just be standing in the middle of the room, sort of in front of the television, which seemed like a good idea, you know. So it was almost, you know, it's obviously not exercise, but you know, it's that kind of thing. You know, like you're getting away from the desk, you're getting up and about, because I don't have a standing desk. Don't really like that idea. Wild tangents here in the Hellhole tonight. What is it? 2:30? It's 2:30 a.m. We're live, pal. How charming is that? It's like bursting a zit, right? And is that see, that's interesting because like I can't quite tell. Is that just does her hand just look like that? If you play the first game, you know why. Or did that spatter further? You know, like the time fall. Did it sort of like age your hand or whatever where it landed? I'm not really sure. You know, and it's interesting because the whole Dooms thing and how they interact with BTs and the beach and everything is sort of like it has different consequences and different abilities and things like that. And Higgs was obviously like he was a next level weirdo. Trying not to spoil too much, you know, but go check that stuff out. Maybe if I get back to the playthrough, we'll talk about it more then. I don't know. Maybe now I should start. I got too many things on the boil is the problem. You know, it would be nice to play a bit more Death Stranding. That's something I might just drop in and play a little bit. On that subject, we are making developments to get things back on the road. So I don't know when, but because I've been dealing with like issues. I haven't been able to edit because of some account issues that have been up in the air and dealing with corporations, so that's been a little bit frustrating, but so we'll be getting back to edited content sometime soon, which hopefully means advancing the Mortal Kombat 1 Lucifer timeline, because really that there's 5 chapters to go, and really I wanted to have that done by about now, so I'm a little bit frustrated by the hold up on that, so we'll be getting back to that. We'll get back to the trading card arc, because I'm really eager to get back to that. Street Fighter 6 World Tour is still going on, and yes, I do have an unfortunate knack to sort of like, I enjoy mixing things up. I don't like to stay with one thing too long. So there's something else that I'm working on that I'm hoping to incorporate in the Hellhole sometime. That's going to require a certain amount of editing, so we'll see how that develops. If you want to be here for that, make sure you follow on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, ring all bells necessary, including your own. Ring it out for Carl Weathers, who sadly has passed away. I love Carl Weathers. He's such a dude. I literally put Rocky 2 into my player last night, closed it up, thought about it, decided I wasn't going to. I watched Rocky 2 enough. But yeah, it's so tragic to to
Anyway,
come
the
and
DH
discover the news
Magellan's here to
today
back you up.
that Carl Weathers has left us because he
As
was
always, you'll be the one
he's
leading
an
the
absolute
way to expand
legend.
the network.
You know, a legend of the screen.
What's your
I
role?
love him
in all
in the Rocky films,
You're the
Apollo
commander.
Creed. I never got over
That's right.
what happened in Rocky 4.
These days I'm fragile
It's always
and
too
lonely.
soon, man. I love you, Apollo. Predator, you know,
You brought
obviously
America
Predator's
together.
huge.
How did we reborn?
I haven't really gotten the Mandalorian. You know, I loved him in the Adam Sandler stuff. Very funny. What if, like, just a dude shows up? I was watching.
Humanity
I
is
can't
still
remember
in
what it was called. It
danger.
was some like Hulk
Still
Hogan
on the
movie
brink of
from the
extinction.
'90s, and I was literally just watching it.
Don't act like
You
you
know, a
don't
week
see
ago
it.
because Carl Weathers was in
A
it.
lot of things
He's the only good
changed
thing
after
in
we
it.
went off
Dude
the
just
road.
naturally brings charisma.
Especially within
You
the
know,
UC.
elevates the material. Elevates
no
everything
longer
around him,
oversees the
and it was
distribution
garbage.
network.
I mean, they almost
Every
put him
2
in
months
the.
things were up and running. So your friends
It
and
was
coworkers
it was
all
like the
went their
Predator
separate
style
ways.
role where like Hogan is
Within network
the be all end all.
coverage,
Just
there's no need to
absurd,
rely on
disgusting.
reporters
But so sad to lose Carl Weathers. It really bummed me
So
out.
after I
Like I was
closed
really,
up shop,
I didn't even know if I was
I
going to do
went
this
and
tonight
started a
because
new
I was so just
one
deflated
that
by the whole
handles
thing. It feels
working
like
regions outside
we're
the
losing,
UC.
and you know, I just, you
We
know,
decided to call
aging sucks,
ourselves
man. Oh yeah,
Drawbridge.
everybody's like fading.
With the
That is the
support
joy, though, of
the
like what
Kyle
Kojima is doing
network
right
and
now.
A-Pass,
This dude is like,
humanity will be free from the
there's
need
no
to move
quit.
around.
look at this. This is great.
Bots
This is
are
a
capable of
this is
handling
a
litter.
gift to us.
He's
I'm
alive.
so excited for Death Stranding
He called
2.
himself a
And I'm
ghost,
excited to be here with you and sharing the experience. You know, what did you like from the PlayStation Showcase? Leave a comment. It's going to be in the
He came back to
archive.
get revenge
You might
on
be
you
watching it
and me.
there right now. Thank you very much. Remember to follow. You can check out the playlist if you want to for the full sort of like talking trailers. This is just something that has become a regular thing. I don't know if we're going to do it all the time because I don't know that there's that much I'm interested in. Fighting games were really like the big appeal, and they were delivering month to month. I don't know if we're going to do this every month, but we have been, so it's cool. Make sure you subscribe, and I would love to hear from you. What are the games that are jumping out at you? What are the elements that are jumping out at you? Did I miss something? Was there something that maybe you weren't thinking that I called your attention to? That's cool. That's part of this sort of cultural exchange we have going here. I think that's great. If I can show you something you don't know, that sounds good to me. If you want to tell me about something that I don't know, that could be cool too. You know, that's what it's all about, man. We gotta invest in like new experiences and things like that. Not necessarily committing to anything. Doesn't mean that I'm gonna indiscriminately just follow it all through. But you know, this is what I like. This is why I love Death Stranding. It's giving me something new, something exciting, something I genuinely really enjoy, and I hope to enjoy it with you sometime real soon. Until then, adios, amigos.